you a songwriter? Are you looking to turn your songwriting passion into a full-time gig? Whether you are just at the start of your songwriting journey or a seasoned industry professional, this show is made for you. Welcome to The Songwriter Show, bringing together songwriting news, interviews, and community. Now, welcome your host, Sarantos.
Thank you all tonight for tuning in, and welcome back to the Songwriter Show right here on Reality Radio 101. I'm your host, Sarantos, a solo music artist who's been writing lyrics for as long as I can remember. Words just mean so much to me, and that's why I love hosting this show for you every single Tuesday evening. I believe strongly in my heart that every song is an important story. Tonight I'm so excited to have on the show Yoelin. He's a top songwriter for TV shows like Criminal Minds, How I Met Your Mother, The Kardashians, and many, many more. He's also a university professor who's taught at UCLA, DePaul University, and Elmhurst University. He's currently teaching a Taylor Swift-inspired hit songwriting class at the Tin Lizzy Bar in Chicago's Lincoln Park.
And now, welcome this week's special guest.
Welcome to the show, Lou. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to talk to you. So you've got some really cool stuff going on, and I think there's a couple things that would really appeal to the fans. So thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So tell us, first of all, how you got started being a songwriter.
Good question. Yeah, when I was a kid, I would watch TV shows and you'd hear music in the background. And, they wouldn't be songs like I'd hear on the radio, like it wouldn't be Nirvana or AC/DC, they'd just be music. And I was always kind of fascinated by that. And I always kind of felt like in the back of my head, like I could do that. And I always kind of dreamt about doing that one day. I mean, long story short, I started taking songwriting more seriously after high school. And then I studied classical composition at college and graduate school. I went to UCLA for that. So that brought me out to LA. And after UCLA, it's like, all right, now I really got to make a living doing this. So it's do or die time. And I could spend, hours telling all the details about it. But long story short, I worked really, really hard. Was very strategic about it. And over the years, it started snowballing. And I got in at a pretty good time. It was kind of like the heyday of reality shows, like about 15 years ago with the Kardashians, The Hills, The Real World, all those MTV shows. It's kind of like the phase before streaming kicked in. And all the reality shows, they usually have like wall-to-wall music in the background. And so it created a big need for music. And the cool thing is reality shows, like royalty-wise, they paid the same amount as scripted shows. So I just really worked really hard, had good music, had commercial-sounding music. Slowly but surely started snowballing, and that kind of became my bread and butter.
Yeah, I think, we'll have fun talking tonight. Everybody wants a hit, and they're hard to come by, and people don't realize how much music is used in film and TV and all the sync licenses and the instrumental cues. They can be very lucrative, and sure, with AI and all these things coming in the marketplace, it might be a little more challenging, but I still feel like there's a career to be had there if you want it.
Yeah, 100%. Like it's always been super competitive and super saturated. But when I started doing it about like 20 years ago, I was pretty surprised like how few people were doing like pop songs and rock songs specifically for TV shows, movies, commercials. It seemed like everyone was trying to be like film scores, like John Williams and stuff. And my buddies from UCLA, that's what they wanted to do. I was living in LA and I was like, wow, I don't really know many other people who are doing this. And then about 5-10 years later, it seemed like people started catching up to that. And then there's usually a silver lining. And I've been doing this 20 years, and it seems like with new technology, every 7 to 10 years, new technology comes out, and that begets like changes in the music industry. So the industry kind of changes every 7 to 10 years. Obviously when the internet really came to prominence, Napster, that changed everything. Then like 15 years later, Spotify took over, that changed everything with streaming. But there's usually a silver lining. So I still think a lot of people don't know about it. And I think the silver lining is that like there's been much more of an abundance and need for music, whereas back before streaming and maybe even the internet, which is before my time, it was like way, way less abundance, way less quantity. But granted, the value was much higher than, like upfront license fees, master sync license fees were much higher than royalties were more. So it's kind of like a numbers game. Also, quantity and abundance tends to go up, and it's become more of a global market too. So you can like not just reach out to countries in America, but all over the world.
That's great. So who's your first teacher?
Like ever in life, or for like doing this?
Whatever you want to answer. I mean, either one or both, whatever you want.
My earliest memory of a teacher is probably my preschool teacher. Don't really remember her name, but for doing this specifically, I really didn't have a teacher or mentor. I really figured it all out myself. Music school didn't teach me anything about how to like make a living or make a business or make money with my music. I just creatively, not even a ton from music school either. I learned a lot creatively by working with other talented, skilled people. But yeah, this I can honestly say I just kind of figured it out on my own. It was like 2005, and I don't know if you're familiar with BMI or ASCAP. Those are like the two main companies that pay music, like songwriting royalties in the USA. So I literally just walked into BMI like after I graduated UCLA, and I was like, talked to the receptionist, and I was like, hey, I want to write music for TV shows. How do I do this? And she's like, hold on one second. So she went into the back room and came back with a Xerox copy of Music Supervisors. And she goes, this is the director of Music Supervisors. These are the people you want to contact. So I made like an Excel sheet.
Wow. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, she just gave me the Xerox copy, and I just pushed myself. I was very organized. I made a spreadsheet, and I just like went down the list, cold called everyone, emailed, social media, DM'd. I kept a list of like anyone who responded, yes or no. Like most people just didn't respond or pick up, and I wouldn't stop until like I got a hard no, and I'd follow up every couple weeks. And from like the first 200 or 300 people in there, I got like my first two placements on a Disney Channel show called Life with Derek and a NBC soap opera at the time called Passions. And I was super stoked that I caught the bug from that, because I got paid up front and then I got royalties. So I just kind of rinsed and repeated, made a new batch of songs, reached out to these people I already reached out to. And this time I had a couple credits to name drop, and that opened a few doors, got a couple more placements. And then you're just kind of off to the races from there, just kind of rinse, repeat, and then started snowballing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have a teacher with that, but then as a teacher, I definitely teach my students that, because I would have loved to have a teacher like me have taught that when I was in college or graduate school.
Yeah, what do you think about services like Taxi? Is that something you recommend listeners of the show try in terms of helping to get placements, or what are your thoughts about that?
Taxi, that's like a pay-to-play service. Nothing against Taxi specifically, and I know some people who do that, but like by and large, the majority of the industry is not pay-to-play. In my experience, if they're legitimate, they take a percentage,
Yeah.
They'll take part of the publishing or split things 50-50 with you. And that's how I know it's legit. The pay-to-play situations to me are usually not too legitimate. So I personally stay away from those.
When you say pay-to-play for the listeners, can you explain a little bit? So what Taxi pretty much says it is there's a fee to submit it, and they have different listings. And then they hook you up with music supervisors or people that are looking for a certain song. And it could take a year or two, and sometimes you'll get a placement. So if you can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, the vast majority of like music placement companies or sync placement companies, similar to that, they take a percentage of what they play. So you don't pay them anything. And usually they have a pretty high bar for entrance. So like they only accept you into their catalog if they really think your music's viable, and then they take a percentage of whatever they play. That's the vast majority of the legitimate companies out there. And the ones that are pay to play, again, it seems like, I don't know if they have any bar for entry. It's kind of open door, and then you pay them. And it's just the way the industry has worked for decades. It's not the more legitimate route, to be totally honest.
And are there certain websites that you would recommend people try to get placements, legitimate websites, like if you want to name some?
There's hundreds. There's thousands, but there's a directory called musiclibraryreport.com. That's like the best directory of music publishing companies and music libraries that are legit that do that. So anyone listening, I would suggest sign up with musiclibraryreport.com, and then you just get hundreds and hundreds of companies that do this. And those are like, and I think Music Library Report like vets them. Oh, and like the good thing is it's made by composers for composers, so you can like give reviews on different libraries. So if something is scammy, there'll be other like composers talking about it in the forum. That's definitely what I would check out as a listener.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. You know, one of the things I love to ask guests is about scams, right? So we can all protect each other. A vast majority of listeners are fans that are just trying to figure out how people do this, but a lot of them are also songwriters. So tell us about a scam. You kind of alluded to some, but tell us about one you want to warn everybody about, or maybe one you've fallen for in the past when you're first starting out.
Scams. I mean, I've definitely been through the ringer in the music industry. I was in a band that got signed to a major record label, and that was like one of the. Are we allowed to swear on here?
Let's keep it friendly swearing, you know.
Okay.
I don't want it to get beeped out.
Like one of the worst experiences of my life. Oh God, it just like became a total poop show, for lack of a better term, which it brought out the worst side of everyone. And like all those stereotypes you hear about major record deals and all that stuff, it turned out to be true. I mean, it's not really a scam, but that was probably like the worst situation I've ever been in with music. But as far as scams, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't think Taxi is a scam at all, but there's like pay to play situations like that out there where I've seen more of those pop up where it's like pay us to pitch your music and then you don't get any return on investment. So I would just generally in the music industry, like stay away from pay to play.
No, I think that's great advice. So tell us about this song that we're going to hear. What inspired this one?
Yeah, so I wrote this with my friend Chris Yagich, who's a very talented producer and songwriter. And we're kind of going for the jugular here for what's currently in style for TV shows and commercials. It's like modern TikTok style rap and like the ads you see. So it's just like really trying to be very commercially relevant and go for the jugular what's like in fashion right now in the sync world. So that's really the honest truth for the inspiration behind it.
Okay, awesome, man. All right, I'll tell you what, let's take a listen and we'll come back and chat some more, okay?
Sure.
Awesome. All right, everybody, check this out. Here we go.
Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. Yeah, we got the heat. We never retreating. Our wins on repeat. Our energy loud. All eyes on the prize and we making them proud. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Ready, set. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. I'm flipping the air. I'm casting the spell and we always excel. Again going on. The flow is so cold and our passion is strong. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Ready, set. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Eyes on the goal. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. 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 Ready, set, grow.
Ready, set.
Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow. Ready, set. Ready, set, grow.
Well, that was a cool song, dude. Thank you for sharing it with us tonight.
Thanks.
In terms of your inspiration with songwriting, obviously people get inspired in all sorts of different directions and channels. Is there a certain way that you tend to get inspired with what you're doing?
Yeah, that's a good question because I've always wanted to make a living doing this. I've always wanted to make a good living doing this. And most people in the business treat it like a business, treat it like a commodity, like it's a car or a refrigerator or stock. So like that, how do you keep your inspiration up when you're also when your creativity is really being used as just like a business commodity. So yeah, because like kind of when you asked the last question, like how did I get inspired? I just wanted to elaborate on that, where I personally get creatively inspired when there's like a really interesting marketable commercial project. Like if there's a commercial, like a car commercial, and it's a cool car commercial, it's a cool TV show, I want to like write music that betters that show and brings that show and that commercial to life, and also is successful for me too in business. So like kind of having the left brain and the right brain working for you is really essential. So like if there's no marketability to something, I don't feel inspired. I personally feel inspired if there's a market to it or there's commercial viability to it. And I know a lot of creative people don't feel that way, but yeah, I think the people in the industry making a living doing that have that kind of element to it, where they're inspired by the business side of things. So that's what, like, this last song you listened to, it sounds a lot like probably what's cool and modern today. And so that's what I was going for. And I felt inspired by that. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I hear on a lot of commercials now. I would like to do something like that. That inspires me. So I just wanted to elaborate on that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Okay. Do you, at this point in your career, are you trying to practice or jam once a week, or are you just kind of creating your own stuff? Like, what's that like for you?
That's a good question. Yeah, I go through phases. Like when I moved back here from LA, like I worked in LA for like 8, 10 years, just all original music for TV shows, original artists. And I always felt like I just want to not, I just want to do something just for fun. So when I moved back here to Chicago, I started a cover band with my friend, a 90s cover band. I'm like, okay, I'm not really writing or producing anything at all. I'm just playing bass and singing background vocals to like 90s songs that I like. So that was fun. And then after about 4 years, I started like the grass started being greener on the other side. I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little tired of this. My wrist is starting to hurt from playing 4 hour gigs. Yeah, I kind of want to get back to writing some original music. So I kind of follow my own compass with that. I'm like, okay, my body and mind is telling me I want to write original music for this, so I'm just going to do that. So I kind of go back and forth. But yeah, right now I'm in a band, an original band with my high school friends, basically, and they're all original songs, and we're just kind of doing it for fun. And so that's kind of the phase I'm in right now, in addition to like writing original music for commercial purposes. I kind of have a good blend going.
What's your favorite 80s song?
Favorite 80s song? Oh my God, because all my favorite songs are from the 80s.
Me too.
Like
yeah.
80s are like
That's a tough question.
Yeah, 80s are the best, but I think probably I think it's called Just Like Heaven by The Cure.
Okay.
Just like, oh my God, that's like such a good song.
And if you could have a dinner with any famous songwriter, living or dead, who would it be, and what would you want to eat with them?
That's a good question. Let me just elaborate on the previous question. I watched this documentary on The Cure, and Robert Smith, he said, like, when he wrote that song, Just Like Heaven, like in 86 or something, he came to his band, he's like, I just wrote the best song that I will ever write. I think he was right. So anyways, I mean, I love like most of The Cure stuff, though. They're brilliant. So obviously, if I could have any dinner with anyone, past or present, it would be John Lennon, because he's like the best dude of all time. And yeah, I just want to ask him like what is his creative process? How did he learn his skills? Like how did he learn his chops? I'm sure a ton of it is like natural talent, but I think Paul and him learned with and from each other. But I'd just like love to dive more into like how did he develop his craft? I don't know how much of that is out there, because unfortunately he passed away at such a young age. And then what would we have for dinner? I mean, pizza, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two more questions for you. One is, you talked about this directory thing, and it sounds like a great resource. I've never heard of it, so I'm definitely going to check it out myself. But I assume that you said other people vet other people, and you can find memberships and find all these music libraries to list. But is it paid? Is it free? Is there like access to music libraries? Like, I'm sure there's some kind of different tier, but can you tell the listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm checking it right now just because I haven't used it in a long time. Yeah, it's still up and running. It's made by composers for composers. It's just a directory of music libraries, music publishing companies, And yeah, it's a paid service. It's always been very like low priced. Like last time I did it, it was like $10 a month or something.
And that's to have access to the libraries or something like that?
To the directory, yeah.
Okay.
That's like the best, most legit one out there.
Okay,
But
awesome.
yeah, and like before I found Music Library Report, there's always been you just Google or ask ChatGPT, give me a list of music supervisor directories or music library directories, and that's what I've always used, from day one since BMI gave me that directory. Like, yeah, after I got that directory from BMI, it's like at some point later, I'm like, there's got to be other directories like this out there with maybe other companies or people that I missed here. So I'm just gonna try and cover all bases here.
And it sounds like your recommendation is for people to hit up Music Soups directly, and then obviously try it again with some publishers, right?
Yeah.
Then they can push your stuff.
Yeah, it's all super hard. You got to pull every string you can. It's really, really hard to get through to music supervisors. It seems to have gotten harder over the years. And so that's why these music libraries and music publishers are great, because they're like third parties and they do all that legwork for you. They're usually started by someone who has some connection to those people to begin with,
Yeah.
So who knows how they get their connections. But yeah, you can go the direct route or you can do the third party route, but expect rejection. Rejection is the name of the game. And, if you can get like a 0.5% success rate, you're doing a fantastic job.
So last question, where can people find your stuff, stream it, buy it? Give us a little info before I let you go.
Oh, because I'm not really like an artist, I'm just like a behind the scenes in the studio producer
okay.
guy. I'm not like a band. I have an Instagram. I have a website and Instagram. How about you tell people to go to my Instagram? I could always use more friends and followers there.
All right. Sure.
So just go to my Instagram, add me, DM me, and I'll be happy to like show you my music there, talk to you. I'm always happy to help. So yeah, my Instagram is at Lou Yoelin, LOUYOELIN. It's just my name, at Lou Yoelin. I mean, if you want, I can give you a QR code to post on somewhere.
Yeah, you can off the air. Yeah, we'll talk for a second, but okay.
Okay.
All right, man. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much. I think it'll be a great show and a lot of people love to listen.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So to all the listeners out there, thank you so much for tuning in tonight with the two of us. We appreciate your time. We know you have choices and your time is very precious. If you're a songwriter, please go to songwritershow.com and feel free to submit the interview request form. If you're a fan and a listener in general, I hope this episode inspires you to explore your own story through the power of music. My name is Sarantos, and as always, it's been a real pleasure having you with us this Tuesday evening. Have a great night. I love you all.
Thank you for listening to The Songwriter Show. To keep the momentum going, head over to www.songwritershow.com and join our free music community of artists, songwriters, and producers. That's www.songwritershow.com.